Hello, I'm Dean Farthing, and today I'm joined by Charlotte Abbasi, who is leading our response on the implications of Solvency II remuneration requirements. As you may already know, the Solvency II regulations came into force on 1st of January 2016 across all EU member states. These include a number of remuneration principles. In the UK, the recent PRA consultation paper on Solvency II remuneration requirements sets out additional guidance on how firms should comply with these. So Charlotte, what should UK insurers be addressing in the remuneration requirements?
Well, a number of things, and I think the recent PRA consultation paper provides a level of welcome clarity on a number of the Solvency II requirements that were previously perhaps not that clear, most specifically perhaps on the PRA's view of proportionality. So Category 1 and 2 insurance firms, the largest and most complex organisations, if they really have to think about the key things they need to be focusing on, it's to be aware that they need to submit a remuneration policy statement 9 months after their year end. Now, most of these firms have December year ends, so that means September of this year, September 30th. The other significant area for them to focus on is that they need to apply specific arrangements to the remuneration of their identified Solvency II staff. What does that mean? That means deferral of 40% of variable pay and, of course, malus provisions to apply to that as well.
Interesting. And so what about the other insurers, the 3, 4s and 5s?
Well, actually, the other provisions apply to all Solvency II firms, including, as you rightly say, Category 3, 4 and 5. So if I boil these down to the main requirements, they are to identify their Solvency II staff, and it's worth talking a little bit more about that in a moment, performance measurement and risk adjustment of their variable pay plans, and the requirement to have a group-wide remuneration policy.
Okay, so you mentioned about the Solvency II staff. Could you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yes, this is a key area. I think most firms will be happy to see the greater clarity in the PRA paper on how to identify Solvency II staff. So that is going to make life a little bit easier. Most of the categories are fairly straightforward. So you have your board members, your SIMRs, senior insurance managers, key function holders, etc. And I think most firms will actually already have gone through a process of identifying those. The new category, and one that does require greater discretion and thought on behalf of organisations, is that of material risk takers, MRTs. And the PRA guidance is that firms should look at their own risk profile and then consider any roles that have a significant impact on that risk profile, including, for example, materiality thresholds for underwriters or investment managers.
Now, another area which I think is going to be interesting is around the assessment of performance and particularly the involvement of CROs in remuneration. Could you say a little bit more about that?
Yes, and that's another key point that I think represents a change as well. The PRA are quite focused on this area, and I think if we look at what's happened in the banking industry, there will be an expectation of companies to get this right. So the PRA expect to see much greater involvement from the risk function, and I think, as you rightly point out, we will see an expectation that CROs give an assessment of the financial performance of an organisation and, importantly, of how that impacts on the remuneration outcomes and plans.
Okay, so quite a lot to be done there. What can we expect next?
So we're currently in the middle of a consultation exercise, and companies have until the 2nd of June to give their input into that. The PRA are likely to publish their final paper in July, which of course gives Category 1 and 2 firms times to complete their RPS before the end of September.
Okay, well, thank you, Charlotte. So the end of the consultation is the 2nd of June. Larger firms, those in Category 1 and 2, need to submit their RPS by the 30th September if they've got a 30th December year end. And probably the two areas of focus is around the identification of MRTs and performance assessment. Thank you for watching, and please do get in touch if you have any further questions.